The WNBA has been around for a while. The Women's Championship has been around for a long time. You've covered the sport. You played for Georgetown. How do you account for what happened last year when suddenly as many Americans were watching the women's college basketball as they were watching the men's?
Honestly, Katty, I would venture to say that more folks were watching the women's tournament than the men's, ultimately. It's a culmination of a lot of things as I reflect on my experience as a women's basketball player and now as a member of the media. The one thing that comes to mind is the star power of last year's crew. I mean, Caitlin Clark, household name, Angel Reese, now also a household name. And so you had this wonderful culmination of incredibly talented young women that were also marketable. And finally, you add in the timing of the NIL stuff, the marketing dollars matched the talent and met the passion and the fervor for fans. Now, I will add the additional layer, and some folks may want to argue about this, but based on my lived experience in this country, the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson effect of it all, that is to speak of the two representations of two different worlds when you talk about Iowa and LSU, it's a culminating ingredient in how we get to this big time moment that crosses into mainstream sports conversation in a way that women's sports had not often prior to that.
I interviewed Magic Johnson not long after, in about early last summer, and I asked him about the phenomenon of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and had they really changed the game for good? Had they changed the whole business model? I mean, that was what he was interested in, I was interested in. Did this mean going forward there would always be just as many people watching women's college basketball as there would be watching men's college basketball in the kinds of numbers? And he sounded pretty confident at the time that yes, I mean, the whole country was caught up in the fever of it. But I'm wondering if that's true, or was that a moment in time? Like you say, there were these, it was so personality driven. Mm-hmm. And then I wonder, how long can anything really be sustained if it depends on one or two personalities?
Well, Katty, and this is totally a fair question because I have discussed it with friends. I have thought about it endlessly myself. Is this something that was a flash in the pan because of all of these different factors, right? Now, here's where I am on it. We'll have to wait until we get to April 6th this year to see what the numbers provide in terms of the viewership of the women's tournament this year. But when I'm watching the Super Bowl and I see a Nike commercial that features Juju Watkins and Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, Jordan Childs, and other women athletes, when I'm starting to see Flau'jae pop up with Experian because she's helping to pay back debt in combination with the company of ForgiveCo, when I'm seeing a variety of young women, I mean, the Notre Dame women's team and an insurance commercial, like when I'm seeing women become more and more a part of the actual mainstream experience of sport, I'm inclined to believe that we are in fact seeing a change. I do think that last year, and this is me just having been in it and having lived in it, I do think last year will represent a spike, but I do not think we will go back to where we were either. I think from this point out, there are stars to attach your name in your fandom to, right? The Juju Watkinses, the Paige Beckers, the Kiki Wrights. There are a number of them. I don't know that we will have sort of the rivalry, whether you want to base that rivalry of Clark and Reese based on sport or on society or any of the other above. The two of them I happen to know have tremendous respect for one another. Rivalry and clear sides is a part of why we love sport. I don't know that we're going to have that, but I do think, and I am confident that the women's game is growing, and partly because the marketing dollars are there. The money is there, Katty, and we know that where there's money, that's where people are putting their investment and showing their interest.
I know. I love the fact, I was about to say, only in America is the real barometer of success the fact that you're an insurance cat. I mean, she made an insurance commercial. What more could you want?
Seriously, I mean, when you've got, I mean, Angel Reese has a McDonald's ad, right? If you want to go, you go insurance and you go fast food here in the U.S., right? That's how you show that you really arrived. But I mean, you're seeing various women athletes representing various brands, having different opportunities. And to me, the marketing is only going to come when these companies believe that there's an advantage here. And even if you don't see an actual player, the other day I was watching a commercial for, I believe it might have been a breast cancer drug here in the States. And the woman's journey, they show her in various chapters of her life. But one of the early scenes in the commercial is she's a basketball player. And so this idea that women's sports is mainstream fabric and it's not about women masculine or feminine, like women have sports experience, and it becoming a part of our generic storytelling on a daily basis is all a byproduct of where we are when we look at the stars of the women's NCAA tournament.
That's super interesting. So somehow women's sports has to become part of the story of our lives, right? In a mainstream way. And I love that example that you just said, that somehow the fact that it showed up in an ad shows what we all know, which is all our girls are playing sports now. And so it becomes part of our lives. And that it's that which makes is it that's going to make it long-term commercially viable?
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her, little girls with their parents, and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think, same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons, and sometimes they may not be based in all truth.
What does it say for the health of the league, or I don't know, for any sport, that it's depending so much on this idea of personalities?
That's an interesting question, Katty. I think I would split that up into two conversations. We've got a women's college basketball conversation and we'd have a WNBA conversation. As someone who also covers the NBA, part of what makes the LeBrons and the Stephen Currys so magnetic is being able to connect with them via social media, via their ads, via their foundations and their production companies, in addition to them being great players. And so I don't think that it's a detriment that folks want to be able to attach themselves because of personalities. I am one who very much believes in celebrating an entire being. And while my favorite athlete may be great on the court, if there's also something about who they are or how they show up that I connect and resonate with, then fine. I'm inclined to spend my dollars on things that they represent. And again, that ties all the way back to our marketing conversation. In women's college basketball, we're in a really unique time with the NIL. Like for a lot of those college basketball players, that 4 years or maybe sometimes 5 is an important window for them to capitalize on their earning potential if they don't go on to go pro. So I don't think personality is ever coming out of college basketball. And quite frankly, the WNBA now going into its 29th season, that connection with its true and purest fan, its longest fan, has always been there. And those fans have been willing to go out and seek it in the most niche and far-fetched places to support the women in the league that they love. Now that it's becoming mainstream, I don't think that that's going to change. The newer audience will have to decide if they want to continue to support as they get to know who these women are via their personality, or do they just love the game? Whichever reason it is, you're welcome to pull up and enjoy the product.
Okay, so I'm going to go straight down the kind of gender question here, which is that I can see, you're right, thinking about it, that men's sports, and I look at the English Premier League, which my husband follows religiously and my kids follow religiously, being dominated, right, forever by personalities. People love the people that they follow. It's the individuals as much as the teams. I'm just wondering now whether there are just more, there are more pitfalls for women in being, maybe this is totally wrong, being big personalities, yes. Right? We are just going to get tripped up every time we try to be that personality that has to carry the whole league on our back. We are there. You know, there's going to be pitfall after pitfall after pitfall that we might fall into in a way that there isn't for men, and that just makes it harder for us to be those big personalities and carry the sport with us.
Katty, you are preaching. Yes, I agree. And this is why that Nike commercial this year is, to me, so iconic. Not just because of the powerful women that were in it, but the message. The whole message is exactly what you just said. It's all this chatter that women have to deal with. And I had a conversation last year that went somewhat viral kind of around the same idea, right? we have to so delicately navigate our being as women, right? And this Nike ad is all this chatter. But the line for that ad, hook, line, sinker, final thing, period, full stop, is you can't win, so win. And so to me, yes, you nailed it in that women have to navigate all these various pitfalls. Are you too feminine? Are you too masculine? How do you show up? What do you represent? Da, 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 da. But to whom much is given, much is required. And I am enjoying an era of athlete that is not apologizing for who they are. They will find the brands that align, they will find the fans that align, and they will go on about their business. We all know, if you don't want something, just leave it. That's it.
So Monica, I guess the question now is, how do we got a whole load of people who are kind of peeking through the window. They're interested. Mm-hmm. How do we make sure they walk through the door and then stay?
Push them. I mean, you know,
take their money.
Just come on in. You made your decision already. I would like to believe, and again, there were tons of conversations had last year coming off the women's NCAA tournament and during the WNBA season. And I have heard that some felt alienated for being huge fans of Caitlin Clark. I have heard that some were frustrated by fans of Caitlin Clark. There's all sides of the coin in this thing. And I only mention her name because she was one of the preeminent names of the sport, but she's not the only one. I would say that if you love the game of basketball, if you want to see someone that you resonate with for a number of reasons, they exist in women's college basketball or in the WNBA. And so follow their products, follow their social accounts, find out more about them. But if you love the game of basketball, just stick around off of that and everything else will come.
Monica, thank you so much for joining me. That was super interesting. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.